Hey guys, welcome back to Memo Makes, a channel about making stuff with tools. This time we got a 2015 Jeep Sahara. It's back. It's the one we had down the line or up the line, getting some grab handles put in. It's back for some power steps. These power steps are made by Amp Research. We're not affiliated with the company, but they make a great product. They've been making these power steps for 15, 20 years, something like that. What these power steps are is the kind that fold down and outward. When you open the door, they automatically do it, so you can get into your Jeep, your truck easier. A lot of lifted trucks, a lot of lifted vehicles get these. This is one that you definitely don't want to take on as a DIY project unless your skills are very advanced. You're going to do a lot of parts installations and a lot of electronics, gadgeting, and connections in the vehicle. You may connect to some sensitive wiring, and you do want to be able to work cleanly and professionally with wiring. Otherwise, stay away from it. I suggest you have a professional install this product. Like I said, you're going to invest quite a bit of money on these parts, so you want to get them installed properly. You don't want to mess something up. You especially don't want to do something that you cannot have undone, because there are some body modifications, slight body modifications, but they're there. If you do them wrong, they can't be undone, so it'll be hard for somebody to correct. Again, we have some video snafus going on there, some editing going on, volume changes. You know, we're trying to avoid copyright problems, so that's what we're working with. I hope you liked the video. Come back, watch another one. And we got an outro on the end of this because the ending is kind of just cut off right at the end. So we'll see you in the end. Alright guys, this is everything that comes with the kit. 2 motors for driving the system, 2 caps for the motors, some hardware, miscellaneous nuts, bolts. These little deals here are for tapping the wires for the door sensors. I don't know if we're going to use those. I don't really like those. Some spacers. These are the arms that actually move the system. And these are the ones that come in and out. Try to get a view of that. That's what they look like extended. And then this is what they look like contracted. And then one of these is just a swing arm. The other one is a drive arm. So this is where you hook up the motor. That little star-shaped deal. It goes right there and moves it. The electronics, all the wiring and stuff, the brain. This we won't do until after we do all the physical installation. Right, first thing we're going to do is take off these factory steps. There are some 10mm bolts and some 13mm bolts under the rig. First we're going to take off these 10s, take off the actual step, then we're going to take off the Come on. Right here I'm going to voice over as I speed up. The reason I speed this up is because, as it turns out, it was better to just take out the bases, all 3 bases or mounts, with the step, rather than take the step off the mounts, then take the mounts off. So you're going to see that when I do the other side. Once I take a better look at the parts taken off, you can better understand or I could better understand, that it would come off easier, quicker, and without any problems if I just took the whole thing off with the 3 mounts on. Sometimes you'll notice that after the fact, so when you do the other side, the opposite side, or when you do the next job, you can do it more efficiently. So next, rearmost body mount, right there. There's a hole right there where the factory steps were. We're gonna mount a plate right here to the bolt hole. Then the linkage goes on here and on that hole. Alright, so using this as a guide, this hole is factory, we'll use that one. So using that as a guide, we'll figure out where this one needs to be drilled. Mark a hole, punch a hole, or mark and punch when where you're gonna drill a hole. Alright, so next we're going to mount the linkage with the supplied Allen head bolts and some washers. We're going to mount these holes first, then we'll go and mount the rear hole. We'll align that rear bracket that we put under there. So at first everything goes loose fit. Once you've got everything in place is when you're going to start to tighten everything so it aligns. And sometimes you'll need to make adjustments based on the good movement of the system. So you'll have to check that, this arm swings properly in relation to the truck and both steps. Believe it or not, sometimes these won't align correctly. So you'll have to go ahead and do that. So we've got these in place, this one in place, and we'll place that lower bolt in its place. Alright, so this is the center of the driver door. We're going to mount here, and we bored out this little hole right here a little bit, and we're going to mount right there. Ya muy diferente. Sangre liviana el vato, ¿no? Sí, sí, la neta sí. So right here we're going to mount this little shim looking deal. No, maybe not. I don't think it's going to go in there. Maybe it goes in the back on this side. Yeah, I think on this, in this case, it's going to go in the rear body mount. That's for the light. Alright, so next we're going to assemble the motor onto the linkage, the gears linkage. This one's the driver's side one. It has the, if you look at it here, it has a star on this side, so this will go right here like such. Hardware's taped to the body of the motor. Nice Bosch motor there. Let's check, see if you can see that one there. So these are decent motors, decent gears, good assembly. Regular socket cap bolt in the back. This is a flange head one in the front.
Y ya lo buscamos y lo encontramos allá atrás sin pila.
So now we're going to start on the electronics. We're going to install the harness and the lights, obviously in the brain module, or control module. It's obviously not a brain. We will start by taking out the fuse. So this is the control module. Goes right here by the battery. It just goes zip tied to that harness. So we're going to move the circuit breaker for the stereo system down a little bit. We're going to zip tie that. Then we'll zip tie this here. We'll guide the long side of the harness along the engine bay, take it down and out. Same thing with the shorter side on this side. So right here, I'm going to guide the wire down the passenger side fender. I had to mute for music in the background again, so I'll voice it over for your displeasure. I guide the passenger side wires down the fender, out the bottom there, as you can see, and between the body and the plastic fender, there's quite a bit of space there, so there's no danger. They're going to go over the body mount, and then they're going to come down to where the motor connection is, and then there's a couple of wire connectors that are for the lamps that light up the steps that I'm holding there, and those are the signal wires that go up into the body to pick up signal from the door sensors. And then obviously the other side's got to be done the same way. First I have to guide the wires over the engine and then guide them down the fender. It's not difficult, it's just getting around things that might damage the wire and then tying them down, to where they're not dangling around, hanging down or anything like that. You want to keep a neat wiring schematic, well, not a schematic, but a good wiring pattern so that it looks good and it's in good working order. That is to say that it's not going to bind with anything or hang and hit something. So you want to be careful of that. You want some aesthetics in there as well as a quality installation on the connections. You want some aesthetics there, meaning you have to watch how it looks for the sake of looks. But the main important thing is to get the wiring down there and then it's in safe passages, or goes through safe passages. I'm gonna guide the wires over that body mount there, the front body mount, then towards the motor that's gonna drive the steps. I also have to guide the LED wiring, which is that tip that has the red and black cables on it. The motor connector is already on there, so you just connect that and clip it in, make sure it's clipped in correctly. Of course, you got to guide it in, make sure the terminals seat well before you try to lock it into its place. And we're going to leave the wire for the LEDs dangling for a little bit until we get to the installation part there. Again, we're muting for music in the background that's going to give us some trouble. So you get to hear my lovely voice voicing over again. The rubber grommet you see here on the wiring for the connector, it goes into a slot on the housing that covers the motor, so we're going to put that in its place when we get there. We're also gonna mount the LEDs on this bracket that you'll see me point to here. It just goes right next to the arm right there, and then it wires up to those wires that we're gonna leave for now. I'm going to be connecting the LEDs on this side using some butt connectors that are heat shrink protected. I'll show you a better look at some of those some other time on another video. Right here we've got some music in the background, so since we have to fast forward, I'll just voice it over. But the connectors are very good because for the outside of the vehicle you want them to be moisture proof. These type of connectors are better for that because once you crimp them with the crimp tool, then you heat shrink them to protect them. This hood goes on here like so, and it attaches to this base with some rivets. So we've got to get this grommet to slide into the slot, and then we can snap it into place. It's kind of a tight fit, but I'm gonna work on it, and I'll show it to you once I'm done because I'll need a free hand, and this tripod's way too low for this. So we took our heat gun, shrunk these terminals here. Next we're gonna clean these up with some alcohol and double side stick them right there so they light up the next couple of clips. We've got Memo here installing the LED lights on. These LED lights, what they're going to do is they're going to shine down on the steps where you would normally, about where you would normally put your foot to get into the vehicle. They're pretty good LEDs. They're supposed to be waterproof. I've never had them go bad in, I don't know, maybe 20 years since I've been installing these, something like that. Could be an exaggeration, I'm not sure, but I think they've been around that long, if not longer. So these go on there pretty easily. You just peel that strip, make sure that the surface where you're going to stick them is clean. I usually just clean it with alcohol. If I still notice some debris on there, well then I take it off and I clean it with alcohol again. And that's it. There's nothing to it. Just make sure that the wiring is tucked up and zip tight so it's not hanging and causing undue stress on that adhesive strip, and it'll eventually come off. But this double-sided 3M stuff is pretty good so long as you apply it correctly, like I said, on a clean surface, and then that something's not hanging from it, pulling on it all the time, and then anything will come off like that. I'm going to remove the piece here along the sill, this plastic piece. It's just held on with some rivets or plastic clips. They're just held in by pressure. You just have to pull them out with a panel popper tool. You'll see it in a bit. It's pretty simple. Then we're going to guide the wires through the bottom there to come up into the vehicle, and then we'll guide them to the different trigger wires for the different door sensors.
This tool, you just have to be careful how you use it. The clips are kind of delicate, so you'll see me wedge the tool under it and then put my thumb up on top of it and pull out at the same time so that it doesn't break or rip the clip out. Then you just shove them back in their place as they go. And that's the way that you're going to take them out to remove that plastic piece there. Once you've got all the clips out, the pieces wiggle back and forth and you can just pull it out of there. It's a pretty simple system, but you just have to be careful how you take them out. We will find a grommet. I'm not sure if it's right up front here. Look at that, factory left a loose screw in there. Maybe it's this one here. Let's see if I can give you a better shot of it. Lift up the carpet. There's a grommet there. Alright, so we'll leave the lamp in here. Go into here. Next we'll pinch a slot right here, guide those wires through and put the grommet back. Next we run the grommet back to its spot through those wires. Alright, so these trigger wires go to each independent door triggers that tell the system when each door is open. So two of them go hooked up here to this wiring here. One is going to be run back along this trim to the back. The other one gets routed around to the other side under the carpet. And we'll do that off camera. That'll be kind of boring. We're going to check the wiring that we need for this installation. We're going to go in that wire loom to see which wires go to those trigger wires that we talked about earlier. We're going to use a meter to check each individual wire. Even though I have the wiring diagram for it, we still are going to test with a computer safe tester. This is the Power Probe 4. It's a great tool for testing electronics in vehicles. It's a very good tool. We're going to do a separate video on it, separate review on it. It's a great tool. I use it very limited in its capabilities, but I like it. It helps me out with anything that's automotive related. You do want to use a computer safe tester especially in today's vehicles that are very delicate. They have onboard computers that do just about everything in the car. So you've got CAN bus system, OBD system, a lot of data wiring. So if you probe it with a regular tester, you will damage a component in your vehicle. You don't want to do that. You want to stay away from doing that kind of thing. So you want to use a computer safe tester. You want to be aware of the wiring that you're going to need. I wouldn't do this kind of job on your own if you are not 100% familiar with wiring and mechanical, because it takes a little bit of both. I wouldn't recommend this as a DIY project. I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm comfortable doing this kind of thing. I have about 30 years of experience messing with cars, anything that's electronic. I started way back when. I started with car stereos, car alarms, that kind of thing. So we do want to test everything that we're going to hook up to, just to be sure. Even though we've got the wiring diagram, we still are going to test.
Alright, so next we're going to use these posi locks. These little gadgets or widgets or gadgets here, they're gadgets because they're widgets and gadgets. They're used to tap into wires. So this is the way they break down. This is where you feed the wire through. This one is the one that does the puncturing and the joining of the wire, and this is what you wrap around the wire that you're going to tap. So where we want to tap this violet and gray, simply slide that onto there like so. See it there. Then we set in the pointy side in there like so. What that does is it punctures the wire. Now it's contacted to this slug right here. Next we bring in the wire that we want. Strip back just a little bit of cable. Bring that through here, like so. And then we spread it out. Then that gets slid into there. And you screw that in whilst pushing this cable inward so that it doesn't slide out. You always want to make sure that that's pushed in. And there, that's it. You have a tap. Whether these are good or bad, you guys can make your own choice, but I've been installing these steps for years. They've always worked. And since they are not on the outside where moisture can get to them, more than likely they will never develop a problem. Like I said, I've never had one of these develop a problem. And there it is, tapped. Spread out the wire, slide it in. And that's it. So then we will tuck these in here, zip tie them like so. And we'll proceed with the other ones. There's going to be one on this harness here, the upper part of it, and then one that's going to go around the other side.
Now we're going to clean up this wiring. We're going to zip tie the remainder of the cable length. You want to keep it clean. You want to be a professional. You don't want to do a hack job. We've all been familiarized with hack jobs. Other guys that just make things work and don't keep it clean. Don't keep it professional. You want to keep things clean. You want to make sure that everything's going to stay in place. That if ever there's a need for service, you're going to be able to. So you do see some slack there in the wires, and that's what I'm zip tying up. I'm making sure that everything's going to stay in place and that I will be able to service this if anything comes up. You want to stay away from those guys that just make things work and don't care about professionalism. I try to be a professional. I try to make sure that everything is going to be done correctly. The customer will never see it, but you will always know it's there. It'll be in the back of your mind. At least it would be in the back of my mind. If I did it wrong, you want to stay away, again, from guys that would do those fast, quick, cheap jobs. Lower price at the sacrifice of quality is not a good deal. Never a good deal. Some people can do a good job quickly. Usually, doing things quickly takes time. You'll see the job that's being done here. You see those zip ties holding everything in place. You're going to see a clean work. You're not going to see everything just bunched up under those plastic trim pieces. Here you see us clean up the work. We're going to jump a scene here, and you're going to see that we just have the one wire that we're going to send over to the driver's side so that we can get the trigger from over there. Alright, so this is the passenger side here. The way this works is these are the mounting tabs into these slots. There's some aluminum shims or guides that go in there, and you move these along here like that. So we're going to set those in place. We will set all the pieces in, and then that'll guide us to do the alignment. Now the alignment is important, and I probably won't cover it in too much detail. It's one of those finicky things you just have to learn as you go. Okay, so we'll do that, and we're going to get you some wide shots of that. Igual no está en su lugar, no lo he puesto aquí, pero no, de la llanta no.
Exactamente, güey, exactamente, tienen 6 pulgadas por atrás, güey, exactamente. Aquí tienes 7, Memo.
Jálamela, o acomódala como. Nomás es de golpecitos, no es de empujón.
¿Tú botaste el Wrangler del radio?
¿Cómo?
¿Tú lo botaste?
¿Yo qué?
¿El Wrangler del amplificador?
Sí. Ponlo, no va a ser que se me olvide. Sí, sí, porque moví todo eso y tuve que moverle, me dejaron. Lo mejor que pude, no puedo más dar mucho por eso.
Está alineado.
Igual,
Simón, güey.
¿te falta?
¿Quieres que le pise?
No.
Fotos y recuerdos.
Ay, ya, güey, ahora estoy aquí abajo.
Y ya ves que si te dice que hagas eso, ¿ah? Los steps. Que los pises.
¿Sí?
Sí, güey. Yo me acuerdo que tú me dices pises, dice que los pises para que se acomoden. Los del RAM, los de los pickup RAM, se pegan si no los pisas. Se pegan entre el estribo que se va metiendo. No, y luego aparte los pisas y les pegas otra gustada, ¿no?
Los torqueos, más bien.
Bien preciso el vato.
Güey, nunca he batallado tan poquito para alinear, güey. Siempre,
Ajá,
¿no te has fijado?
batallas más
Siempre,
en
güey,
la alineación.
ocupo quitar.
Sí. Sí, cierto.
Y te voy a decir algo, güey, yo pensé que iba a batallar más con estos que con cualquier otro. Porque la línea de donde agarra aquí, güey, se mira como que queda medio chueco, güey. Y cuando pusimos el primero, sí te fijaste que no podía meter este, que lo tuve que aflojar. Y este lado lo quise, primero metí este y luego aquel.
Valió.
Bam! You all saw what happened here. I'll explain it to you in case you missed it. It just took a second to do something stupid. Alright guys, so this is a perfect opportunity for me to show you, rather than, edit this out, want to show you a mistake that sometimes we can all make. These bolts that hold this piece onto the arms, they are socket head bolts. What that means is you use an Allen wrench or an Allen socket to put them on. So, because I couldn't quickly find the Allen socket that I needed, and I didn't want to use an Allen wrench, to turn, I used a Torx bit socket to drive these in. Because they don't take a lot of torque to put these on, I thought I could get away with using a Torx bit. This is what happens when you use a tool for a purpose for which it is not meant. This is how you break tools. It was a Craftsman bit. It was a good bit. It's old Craftsman, so it should have been okay, but that's not what it's meant for, and you'll hear me talk about it in the background. In Spanish I'm mumbling out, but this is a great opportunity to show you guys we all make mistakes. We should not deny our mistakes, but rather we should learn from them. Don't use the tool for a purpose for which it is not intended.
Alright, so there she is. Those are the steps. As you can see, we close the door. A couple seconds. It retracts. Pretty cool look. Looks like a Nerf bar. And then you open either door, they open up. Got light here, light here. It's pretty much where you're gonna step when you go to get inside. Again, once you close either door, both doors, gives you a couple seconds, and they retract. And that's it in a nutshell. All we gotta do is put the cover on the motor. As soon as you open either door, come out. So we'll just rivet the motor cover on, and that is it. Once again, these are the AMP research steps. Not affiliated, non-sponsored. There's some alignment to be made when you put these on. Screw them in through the bottom here, and I'll try to show you that on the other side. So those are the bars there. Ábrele, ¿no? No, que le abra la puerta, güey. Ciérrale.
Alright guys, I hope you liked the video. I hope you have fun. If you have a Jeep Sahara, now you know what it's about. You know what your Jeep's going to go through if you want these installed. Great product. They last quite a bit. I've seen them handle years and years of use. Hope you liked the video. Come back, watch another one. If you didn't watch the other video for this Jeep, it's in the playlist. We got some other videos there. We're going to have even more. Help our channel grow. See the links in the description. See the other videos, like, share the video with somebody you think may be interested in this kind of thing. Like I said before in the other videos, we've got tool reviews, gadget reviews, those kinds of things coming up. We try to keep it light. I know I cuss a lot in the videos, but I edit that out, so that's what some of that editing is about. It's just in my nature. And like I said, hope you have fun. I had fun doing it. It's always really fun for me to install these steps. I really get a kick out of when the product finally moves on its own. You know, you open the door and it swings down. It's always a kick for me. I always have fun with it. I guess I'm like a petulant child that way. So come back to us, watch another video, share it with a friend. See you later.